Hello, and welcome to CommonSensePolitics.tv. One of the biggest changes I've noticed in this year's election is how some people have decided to use logic, common sense, and intuitive reasoning to make their point, as opposed to insults and name-calling. I found an excellent example of this on a website called ReaganCoalition.com. A citizen of North Carolina wrote a heartfelt, intelligent letter to Bruce Springsteen explaining that she admires his sincerity but questions his judgment in canceling the concert. To read the entire letter, go to ReaganCoalition.com and search Letter to Bruce Springsteen. In the letter, she asks Mr. Springsteen 3 questions. Listen to the questions and make your own decision. Question number 1. First, how do you know if someone is really transgender, or not? Is it determined entirely by how they feel about themselves? If so, do you think that it might be hard to make laws based entirely on how people feel? Question 2. What's the difference between someone with gender dysphoria, or, as it used to be called, gender identity disorder, and someone, say, with schizophrenia or multiple personality disorder, or some other psychological condition? In other words, if a man is a biological and chromosomal male but believes he is a woman, is he actually a woman, or does he have a psychological disorder? If he does have a psychological disorder, should we try to treat that disorder or should we celebrate that disorder? And is it right to call biological males who feel they are women and biological women who feel they are men freedom fighters? Perhaps that's not the best use of the term. If you are deeply offended that I would dare suggest that many transgender individuals are dealing with a psychological disorder, could you kindly point me to the definitive scientific literature that explains that these biological males are actually females and these biological females are actually males? I'm not saying they don't deserve compassion. To the contrary, I'm saying that's exactly what they deserve, compassion, not celebration. But perhaps I'm being too abstract here. So let's get really practical. Let's say that a 6 feet 4 inches male who used to play professional football and who has secretly agonized over his gender identity for years finally determines that he must be true to himself and live as a woman. Do you think it might be traumatic for a little girl using the library bathroom to see this big man walk into her room wearing a dress and a wig? Should we take her feelings into account, or is she not important? What if that was your granddaughter? Would you care if she was traumatized? And when you speak of the human rights of all of our citizens, does that include little girls like this? I understand that this gentleman will have difficulties should he decide to dress and live as a woman, but that is still a choice he is making, and it is not fair to impose his struggles on innocent little children, is it? And what if this same man, whom we'll assume is not a sexual predator, wants to share the YMCA locker room with your wife and daughter, standing there in his underwear as they come out of the shower stalls wrapped in towels? Is this fair to them? Let's take this one step further. If any man who claims to be a woman can use women's bathrooms and locker rooms, then how do we keep the sexual predators out? I've asked people to watch this short video, giving examples of male heterosexual predators who donned women's clothing to get into the ladies' rooms, and I'd encourage you to watch it too. Without HB2, rapists and voyeurs and pedophiles would have free access to our women and daughters in the safety of their own bathrooms and locker rooms. Since you don't like HB2, indeed, your guitarist called it an evil virus, what's your plan to keep the predators out? How can we tell the difference between a genuine transgender person and a sexual predator? Since everyone knows you as the boss, what would you do to keep the ladies and children safe? Question 3. When you booked the concert in Greenboro, the laws in North Carolina were just as they are today. In public facilities, people had to use the bathrooms and locker rooms that corresponded to their biological sex. Why, then, did you agree to come in the first place? Why cancel the concert when things today are just what they were 6 months ago? Again, I appreciate your sincerity, but I question your judgment. In your zeal to do what is right, you have actually done what is wrong. The letter ends there. I think these are excellent questions that should be answered. If not by Mr. Springsteen, then by anyone who supports the concert cancellation. Thanks for watching, and good night.